SBN Sports Business Now.
And live, I'm your host, Holly Koski, and Sports Business Now Live is a weekly wrap-up show on all of the latest news and trends in the sports business world as covered on sportsbusinessnow.com. Today, as always, we are joined by Jonathan Dusing and Jason Cole, co-founders of Row 27 and SBN. How are you guys?
Great, Holly. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good. We had an awesome networking event last night.
Yes.
Coming off of that.
As well, yeah, let's start off with that. SB Night, organized by Russell Scabetti and thebusinessofsports.com, and some great numbers from our event last night.
Yeah, we had over 40 people in here. It was awesome meeting that many people from the community.
Right.
In sports here in town. Hopefully, at future events, we can pack even more in. I know we probably could have fit 200 into the office space.
I think we had almost all the major pro teams represented. The Vikings,
Everyone
the Wild,
except the Wolves,
Twins.
who were a little bit busy.
Yeah, T-Wolves had a game,
night.
so they couldn't come. But, yeah, it's pretty impressive. Even had the owner of, what was it, the
Joliet Slammers.
Yeah.
Joliet Slammers, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of Illinois.
Recent purchase.
Yeah, so that was unexpected.
Yeah, Josh was great. He's so excited to have that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on your screen here, you can see some of the pictures from SB Night across the country, which is pretty cool to look at. It's sbnight.crowdcameo.com is where you can check that out. I know Charlotte had a really great turnout.
They did.
Same with New York. Portland and San Francisco had some great engagement on Twitter. And also today was in Melbourne and Mumbai, or I guess this morning, American time.
Yeah. American time?
American time in the North American contingent.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what the final numbers were. I know you had 1,300 RCPs, which is a really good turnout.
It's awesome. Mike Mahoney of the Panthers released a report, or at least tweeted it out there, and we just pulled it up as well from hashtracking.com. And there were 614 tweets with over 1.22 million impressions that have reached
incredible.
over 300,000 people from one night of networking. So it's a heck of a reach.
I would say it was an effective first go-around at this. So
Yeah.
props to Russell.
Absolutely. Props to him for putting it, conceiving the idea, putting everything together, and getting that many people on board inside of a month. I mean, that's
and I was talking to him yesterday about it, and he wants to do this like once a year, where they're all at the same time, same night, and then he wants some kind of regions and cities to be able to do it on their own every few months, maybe once a quarter.
Yeah.
So we'll probably maybe not host the next one, but we'll definitely attend. And there'll probably be more in the city near you.
Coming to a city near you.
Yes.
Yeah, so now moving on to, some sports news of the week, and starting off with the Australian Open, which has been great, especially on the female side. As far as, their engagement with the Australian Open, it's been really great. Tennis Australia has kind of ventured into more of the Chinese social networks in trying to attract the Chinese fan. The game has really grown in China to about 14 million people with the recent success of Li Na and how she was the first Asian to win a Grand Slam. So now they're kind of venturing into more of the Chinese platforms, such as I'm probably butchering these names: Sina, Weibo, Youku, and Tencent QQ, because Twitter is blocked in China and things like that. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting, and the Chinese market is really amazing when you think about it. I mean, you have basically the entire United States of America inside of China that has like the income base, and then you have about 1 billion other people that are making less money right now as that economy continues to develop. But it literally is like 1 billion other people. So being at 14 million active participants in tennis, I mean, they just have a tremendous growth opportunity in front for the sport.
Yeah.
So that's neat. I was, I know none of us probably know it, but if you do online, tweet at us. I wonder how many Americans actively play tennis out of our population of around 325 million or so.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a big thing, and I mean high school and stuff. They have a little bit, but
I'm just wondering, like, is it 10%? Is it 30 million? Is it 5%? In which case we have as many tennis players here as China. just kind of interesting to think about it.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot of growth, obviously, in China lately. I think it's been talked about for decades, but it seems like over the last five years or so, the incomes have risen so much over there. The dollar has fallen, et cetera. So there's been a lot more discretionary incomes. I mean, you see, Apple just killing it with some of their. They've just recently, released like their iPhone 5 over there like a couple quarters ago.
Yep.
And some of the other stuff, and they're talking about getting half of their income possibly from China in
That's
5 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see more and more of that with sports teams. I think we've had a few. The NBA obviously has done a little bit, and maybe it was a little early, and I think we're going to see more and more opportunity for those things to actually succeed as we move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, brings up a good point of American tennis. It's actually a great segue to, our next topic, which Sloane Stephens, may have heard of her by now. She is the 19-year-old phenom that beat Serena Williams in the quarters and has really taken off on Twitter. Before the match, she had 20,000 followers, and now she's at 45,000, which, is not a uncommon thing for a relatively unknown athlete to just have a huge number of
or an athlete's girlfriend,
or that too, a huge number of a spike in their Twitter followers. But I actually think that she is going to continually capitalize on this and engage with her fans, because it was kind of cool. She did a Twitter contest, actually, almost like a little scavenger hunt with her fans prior to the match. If you go down a little bit, Brian, you can see her tweet on that. And basically, she just said to her fans, like, hey, there's a signed ball and a pair of tickets, box tickets, might you add. She's like, I'll send out a clue, as it's going to be on the grounds of the Australian Open, and whoever finds it gets the tickets, basically.
And that's going to be something really interesting. You've seen all these consultants and a lot of lessons going out there about how an athlete should act on Twitter, or someone that's in their 30s or 40s, how they should act on Twitter. And here you have someone who's probably been on Twitter since they're 14 years old or got a cell phone.
Right.
Now emerging as a superstar international athlete in the sport, probably a future dominant force with how great her game is.
It's not forced for her, It's
it's
a natural thing.
Utterly natural. So it'll be interesting to see
the contest reminded me of Shaq.
Pardon me?
The contest reminded me of
so.
Shaq. He used to always do that.
Absolutely.
I'm standing on a corner with tickets and stuff
Come
like
find
that.
me.
Yeah.
I'm
It's hard to find. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was, I think, the next clue that she tweeted out. It was, go to this hot dog stand or food concession stand, and said, ask for the Sloane sandwich, and then they'll give you the ball. So
Nice.
Sounds like The Amazing Race or something.
it kind of is.
bit.
But then you have to eat the sandwich, and it has maggots on it. So sorry.
That sounds like another reality show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it'll be interesting to see which brands really, attach to her, especially those looking to identify with the younger demographic.
You were saying earlier, she's already signed by Nike, right?
She's with Under Armour.
She was Under
Lena
okay,
is with
Lena is with Nike.
With Nike,
All right.
but
Yeah.
makes total sense that Under Armour, who hasn't really infiltrated the tennis market, to align with her, especially the
Make
youth.
a bet.
Well, that worked out really
Absolutely.
well, because then she beat Serena. So
Exactly.
That's
A
huge.
Nike.
yeah.
Well, I pulled down the stat that I mentioned earlier.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually 33.5 million active annual participants in tennis in the U.S. You're talking 10% of the population, which for China would be like 130 million,
Interesting.
which is a few.
Okay.
We'll see
Random numbers.
Lena, if she wins.
If she drives that, that'll be pretty interesting.
Exactly. If she wins, it will be another just step in the right direction for Asian tennis. So, moving on to good old National Hockey League, which is finally back in play, thank God, here.
Yes.
And they have actually been killing it on TV ratings. It debuted last weekend and had Blackhawks Kings and Penguins Flyers on NBC. Of course, two marquee matchups.
Yep.
That definitely helped, but a 2.0 rating received by both those games, which is the highest it's ever been in a decade, not including the Winter Classic. So, just people were a little worried that fans might not be tuning in or anything like that, but I think it's quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah, I don't think the fans are holding it against them very much.
Mhm.
I mean, they're just coming out in droves, and they're just excited to have it back.
The thing that will be
It doesn't give much merit to like these bargaining positions in
I
the
know, yeah.
future.
Well, part of the biggest problem in the NHL lockout is if you look at these markets that are setting these local ratings. I mean, these were teams that were making money, and then you
Mhm.
look at Phoenix, not to pick on anyone, and then some other markets. You had teams that were losing money in operations. So it'll be interesting to see if it's like the rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer, or if it's been a league-wide movement in ratings, and that.
Yeah.
That'll probably dictate a lot whether they have another labor disagreement in 5 years or not.
And kind of an interesting stat with our home market of Minnesota Wild is they actually scored a 7.6 on Fox Sports North for their home opener against the Avalanche, which obviously
No one was excited about
we're the
that.
state of hockey, so clearly we were a little amped. But,
Yeah.
a 7.6 on a cable network is incredible.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they can really sustain this type of viewership, especially with games just stacked on each other, So stay tuned to NHL hockey with that.
Oh, I found it. We tweeted last week before they started. The Winnipeg Jets had just an open practice, and it looked like a game.
That's right,
The
yep.
pictures were amazing because it was completely packed and it was just a practice. So, yeah,
Wow.
I thought that was the best way to encapsulate the
excitement.
So, yep. Maybe it's also a good idea that they should have like shorter seasons and everyone will just be more excited the whole time.
Or more teams in Canada.
Well, I've argued that
Yeah.
for years, saying
For every sport, really.
Yeah.
Everybody plays too much, it seems.
well,
you know?
hockey. Who wants to watch hockey in the middle of summer? Like
Yeah.
NHL playoffs don't get decided until June. Which who wants to watch a game that's on ice
Yeah.
in the middle of summer?
Well,
my
they're
personal
just
opinion.
looking for a quiet spot, where they can have
Right.
their own time, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
and that's like
still think
baseball
they
just
should.
starting up, and not really just starting up, but you know
They
what I mean.
start. in
They can have all
February,
the
of
attention
course.
though for their championships though.
Yeah,
In June.
debatably. I mean, you got the NBA,
NBA.
playoffs going, and
Yeah.
I think
All-Star
it's a
break.
rather crowded space. So
Yeah.
again, will be interesting to keep an eye on. And then, actually moving now to the NBA, Sacramento Kings are now for sale. The Maloofs are putting it up for sale and actually have rumored to come to a deal with a Seattle investment group to move it back to Seattle. So is this a rebirth of the Supersonics?
It'll be interesting to see if the Supersonics name is still owned by the Thunder or not.
I know.
Because a lot of teams, as they move around, still in the names. Like the Texas Rangers still in the name, the Washington Senators, which is why the Washington baseball team's named the Nationals.
I'm sure that's negotiable or something.
Wow.
Well,
you're
I
gonna have
think-
to pay the
Yeah.
Oklahoma City to get it if you want it.
Well, they're already paying possibly paying 500 and something,
525
right?
million,
Yeah,
so.
I think actually OKC does have all of Seattle's like records and
Yeah.
history and
Yeah, yeah,
past,
yeah.
but they don't like
Oh,
recognize
yeah,
it
good point.
in arena. They don't
Yeah.
have like
Huh.
Supersonics like banners or anything
At
like
all?
that, which is interesting.
Oh.
No, it's
Yeah.
like a totally new team, which is not the case.
That's kind of like the Wild with the North Stars.
Yeah.
But the fans
Well,
don't
those
really
were
accept that.
two entirely separate teams. So it would have been like
Oh.
the Wild being named the North Stars when
Yeah.
the North Stars who are now the Dallas Stars.
Oh, that's true because the North Stars. Yeah,
Yeah.
forget it.
So I mean, it's like a.
It's
team-
actually completely not like that.
Well, and now with the New Orleans Pelicans, which is extremely intimidating. The whole
Yeah.
Charlotte Hornets
Hey.
and then New Orleans Hornets and then Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah.
Like, that's talk about confusing.
So we're assuming they're going to change the name, though. It's probably not going to be the Kings.
I
is
would,
that-
I think yes.
I mean,
think
that's
so.
kind of generic. It could work anywhere, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we used to work in Kansas City
yeah.
before they went to Sacramento.
Yeah, but talk
So-
about Seattle really lucking out. Now there's talk about getting an NHL expansion team.
Oh.
So
huh.
it's really becoming a sports destination, with
Yeah.
MLS
Yeah.
being as crazy as it is up there. And then you got Mariners, which is whatever, but Seahawks and
They had their heyday.
Safeco Field's
Safeco's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Team, maybe not so much, but
Mhm.
that's another story. So, yes, $525 million, which would be pretty up there in terms of sale
NBA.
of a team for NBA.
Great, they'll build another tower with the Palms.
Exactly.
Be awesome.
Yeah, the Maloofs, ever a great sports ownership team, not so much. And then now going to the world of sports technology a little bit, a new app called Vine is out. That's owned by Twitter, actually, was acquired in October by Twitter. And I think this is really cool and probably going to be my new obsession, honestly. And it allows you to share video directly through your tweets. So it lets you shoot a quick 6 seconds of video and then embed it in there, just like you can with photos. And as you can see here in a second, the video will play on a loop. So it's almost like an animated GIF, really.
Yeah.
Which I think, a lot of teams can utilize in terms of showing behind the scenes action or, maybe a teaser of their new marketing campaign.
Yeah, it seems like this has kind of been the holy grail of tech startups since the Instagram sale to Facebook is trying to get video right from a social perspective.
Like Instagram
this.
got photos right. Yeah.
Exactly. So you've seen video, you've seen color, and it's like second iteration, go 100%, try to do live streaming this way.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it's really caught on. I mean, I've played around and used most of them at this point. But the fact that this is owned by Twitter, that they've narrowed it down to such a short time period.
Well, this really shows the
will
power.
take off.
It really shows the power of Twitter too, because
Absolutely.
because Twitter owns it, these videos automatically expand and play in your stream and on mobile, and so like no other service can have that. So if video is going to work, this is going to be it, or it's not working, or it's never going to work.
It's not going to whatever you're doing, you have to use Twitter as your medium in this space because it's not going to get enough exposure with how Facebook limits what you see now. You know what I mean?
Videos?
Yeah, like videos. Like if you're doing live sharing like this and you're posting it to your Facebook news feed, it's going to be hidden from like 90%
Oh,
of the
yeah,
You have to
yeah.
click on
Based on what
something.
we've been talking about.
based upon everything we've been talking
Yeah,
about.
and you got to click it to expand it, right? To play it.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some changes in that because I think the auto-expanded kind of tweet thing has worked pretty well for Twitter. Maybe we'll see
I'm a big fan of
Facebook
it.
do a little bit more of that. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I think the other thing too is they're really Twitterifying video because
Yes.
Yes.
it's what? It's limited 6 seconds, right? And
Yep.
we've seen 12 and we've seen 15 on some other services. But the point is, the reason why people, really why Twitter really took off is because of the 140.
Yep.
And if for some reason you just with Facebook not having a limit, you just people just didn't do as many status updates as they do tweets because tweets are small. And you just get, I don't know, something about the limit just really does something for you. Life with limits is easier than without, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And so that limit will make people take off all the pressure of having to like produce something and allow the average Joe and even the team, even a team to produce a 6 second thing that's just kind of a fun little thing. Even the example they have is just like it's 6 seconds, but it's like a quick tour of an office, The Verge, yeah. I think they're doing it right.
I think it'll absolutely blow up, and sports teams definitely should hop on it.
For sure. And closing up this edition of SBN Live, we actually have some cool news. We will be broadcasting live from Orlando at the National Sports Forum starting this Sunday and going till Tuesday.
Yeah, 3 full days of live programming.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Live programming where we're going to be interviewing, some of the panelists and the super panelists of
some of the speakers too.
Some of the speakers that are going to be in attendance at the event, kind of just talking about, what they've learned from the event and how they're applying that to their own teams and things like that. So what's the live stream where people can watch it?
It's nsflive.com.
nsflive.com. And you can also use the hashtag NSF 2013, and we will see your tweets. There's also going to be the chat room on the live stream as well, so that will be great. But yeah, especially if you can't attend, definitely tune in. We'll be tweeting from our Twitter handle as well. So.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be sitting down with the panelists either right before or right after they go on, and what we hope to get out of is really them like kind of give us the gist of what happened, and so hopefully I think what we'll end up getting out of it is an hour-long panelist crammed into 10 minutes of just the really good stuff. So it should be really awesome. We're going to live stream it, hopefully, if all the internet stuff works okay.
Yep.
And as well as put up the recordings of all the episodes, all the different interviews. So if you can't watch us live, you can definitely check out the recordings afterwards.
Yeah, so we will. We're leaving for Orlando tomorrow,
Tomorrow night,
actually,
7
and
p.m.
we'll see you on Sunday. But in the meantime, you can always look at sportsbusinessnow.com or our YouTube page to keep up on all of the latest things in sports business. We'll see you Sunday.
SBN Sports Business Now.